Saying anything about this game makes me feel guilty. I grew up obsessed with post-apocalyptic games like The Walking Dead, DayZ, and The Last of Us. And when I got the chance to play the latter, I jumped at it and played the first part immediately when it came out on Steam. I became a huge fan. The first Last of Us game had perfected character writing and pacing while being able to blend appealing cinematic visuals and fantastic gameplay. When I eventually became a man and bought a PS5, I bought part 2. It had massive shoes to fill. After playing it 3 times, I can confidently say it broke the shoe. It really shouldn't be controversial to say that The Last of Us Part 2 is just as good, if not better, than Part 1. I found myself in a constant state of awe. I frequently felt myself thinking, I can't believe this is actually happening, in response to various things I was experiencing. The voice acting, the motion capture, dialogue, plot, character dynamics, themes, world building, environment, and atmosphere. My heart raced, my skin crawled, and I was morally and ethically unsure of where I stood more times than I could count. It wasn't because of the horrors of the infected, however, it was because of the character work. The lengths that this series goes in order to make me care about everyone involved went beyond my wildest imagination. The pacing in this game is slowed to perfection, and it being so slow allowed me to really sit and think about what was going on around me. Everything was done to an impeccable level that I don't think I've ever experienced before. The Telltale Walking Dead series and Nier Automata were my favorite games ever. However, The Last of Us Part 2 transcended just games for me and became one of my favorite pieces of media that I've ever had the joy of experiencing. Spoilers, by the way, you've been warned. This game picks up with Joel telling Tommy what he did in that hospital. The last game ended with Joel and Ellie finding the Fireflies, the sole reason they ended up traveling across the country. They take Ellie to the operating room and Marlene tells Joel that the making of a vaccine would kill Ellie.
It would kill her. Sweet Jesus.
Doctor?
What are you doing? I won't let you take her. This is our future. Think of all the lives we'll save.
So for the remainder of the game, what do? We slaughter everyone in that hospital.
She needed her immunity to mean something.
Jesus Christ, Joel. What do you do?
I saved her.
This ending is one of the most important plot points in The Last of Us 2. Ellie is upset at Joel for taking away the importance of her immunity. She could have meant something, but Joel took that away from her. One of the most common questions asked in the Last of Us community is, plain and simple, was Joel right? This question is multifaceted and can vary from person to person. However, you have to look at what Joel wasn't thinking of. He very plainly killed them because they were going to kill someone he loved, and fuck that. Beyond that, the Fireflies have a very complex yet fascinating place in the story of The Last of Us. In part 1, they were a ragtag revolutionary group fighting against Fedra and losing horribly. They were viewed, however, as unreliable, untrustworthy, and really just not as competent as they should have been. Them being able to make and beyond that mass distribute a vaccine is put into question with just how sketchy they are. We're shown their failure in Pittsburgh and their dealings with unsavory figures like Robert from the Boston QZ. The way that Joel replies to Tommy's question is, again, another reason why his character is so damn compelling. He saved Ellie, like he couldn't save his real daughter Sarah, and it's almost as if he thinks it makes up for it, completing him in a way. Playing as Joel at the beginning of the game kinda gives me a sense of familiarity. The opening ride is so smooth and calming.
It's okay, I got him. You go on.
You sure?
Yeah.
Niggas in this universe can't say thank you, god damn.
Hey,
Hey,
what's up, Joel?
just checking in. Folks are, talking about how impressed they are with you and how well you're helping out.
It's good.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that the awkwardness of Ellie and Joel's conversation here is so perfect in visualizing how their relationship has changed since that time in Salt Lake City. The nuance in the way that Joel tries to make conversation is just beautiful. One of the coolest things that this game accomplishes is that it somehow makes you feel bad for Joel. Just imagine that, genuinely. That has to be one of the greatest feats ever. He's done such crazy and horrible things, but yet you sympathize with him. Even when he potentially, and I say potentially, and I mean potentially, doomed the human race. This intro scene where you play as Ellie in her room is so cool. One thing about Ellie that makes her captivating is her complete love for old world stuff. Her mini obsession with comics is just great. Also, in this game, you can look in the mirrors. You could not do that in the last game. I have skipped some of the beginning because it is really just establishing relationships within Jackson. For example, Ellie and Dina, Ellie and Jesse, Ellie and this bigoted guy, and most of all, reestablishing Ellie and Joel. Blah, 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 blah. I'm mostly skipping because I'm gonna revisit them later. The way this game intertwines stories and gives multiple points of view is what really makes me appreciate this game so much. Playing as this random girl on first playthrough kind of confused me because I wasn't spoiled, thank God. But on the second playthrough, I had no idea what to think. The way that the characters have conversations that make no sense to you when you first play, and when you play again, make perfect sense is just beautiful. I will say it, and people won't like it, but Abby is one of the most beautiful characters I have ever seen. But I'll be talking about that later, so stay tuned. Introducing her and her little band of characters that Ellie goes on to slaughter this early was a great decision and really added to the game's replay value. In playing as both Ellie and Abby, we're supposed to sink deeply into the gravity of what we do. We see the humanity of the people that we killed so that we, the players, can know how awful we have been. It's the grand narrative version of every NPC screaming the names of their friends when you gun them down during regular gameplay. Ellie and Dina go out on routes and they go through the snow and stuff and eventually find this library where one of Dina's old partners, Eugene, used to stay. One thing about The Last of Us that is just amazingly used in this game is how it can consistently develop characters through artifacts and letters. It does it perfectly here with Eugene, as we see that he was a firefly with Tommy, had a wife and daughter who ended up leaving him, was lonely, and he fucking loved weed. We can quite literally build him in our mind through these small details the game gives us, and it builds the world of The Last of Us so excellently. They eventually stumble across his weed farm.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, fuck it.
Genuinely, what is wrong with her? Like, why would she do that?
I give it a 6.
A 6?
Wow, like a solid 6.
Okay.
There are a lot of people around.
Yeah, but 6.
Oh, what? I mean, now I really want to know how you'd rate it.
I don't think you do.
The development of Dina and Ellie's relationship in the beginning is so awkward, and it's nice to see how truly awkward relationships can be, especially same-sex ones. I do also want to highlight that if you don't like this game because of their relationship, or Ellie being gay in general, I genuinely hope that you never succeed in life. Like, these are the type of people that don't like this game, and you expect me to take them seriously. If you think you're getting force-fed this, then your brain is the size of a pebble. While Ellie is getting high, Tommy and Joel rescue Abby, and she takes them back to the lodge where her and her crew are staying at.
We do. A few hours down the hill. Y'all should come back with us, restock before you head out.
Appreciate it. I'm Mel, by the way.
Tommy, this is my brother.
Joe.
This scene where Tommy introduces himself to Abby's cast, which is what I'll call them for now, is executed so well. The way Manny immediately locks in when Joel says his name is class. You could tell in the first playthrough that something dreadful is going to happen, and how Abby just looked at his name's mention. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire game.
Joel Miller.
Who are you?
Guess.
The death of Joel is what really split the fanbase on this game. I've heard that the problem is either false advertising, which, okay, or the fact that he didn't die cooler? If you honestly expected him to kill everyone in that building and have the second game forget it, then that's really on you. The sheer brutality of his killing does suck after playing the first game and falling in love with him, but dying in the world of The Last of Us isn't special. Yes, Joel's the GOAT. Yes, he's amazing. But in this universe, he's just Joel. Abruptness is how death happens. Death is never scheduled. We see this later on in the game on both sides with Jesse and Manny. The way that this single death, though, does spiral into the entire story you end up playing is amazing. It starts Ellie's quest for revenge, Abby's quest for purpose, and the start of her incredible guilt, and the beginning of her cast looking at her as a monster. This scene where Tommy comforts Ellie hurts so much, especially because I know Tommy blames himself more than anybody. The skins in this game, side note, are so tough. Like, just amazing. There are little details here where Ellie goes into Joel's house that are just heartbreaking. Like when her hand shakes entering the house or her grabbing on his jacket. As you make your way through downtown Seattle, you find out more about the WLF, their rise to power, where they came from, etc. They were in a war with Fedra, like the Fireflies, but actually won, something the Fireflies could never do. You also learn more about their leader, Isaac. He was Fedra's top priority soon before their downfall to the WLF, as seen in this note from Lieutenant Torres. Fedra deadass just gave up and gave the QZ to the WLF. They had moles on the inside and everything, shit was deadass crazy. Also love seeing how propaganda is just a staple when it comes to humanity. You go through the entirety of downtown Sanford to find gas to power this generator, and it's so cute how after you go to the courthouse and the gas isn't fucking there, Ellie calls Dina bae. Very cool couple and has the wisdom stamp of approval.
It's peaceful out here, at least. It's weird being in a QZ and not hearing trucks. Or gunfire and explosions.
My sister always avoided QZs. That's probably why.
The little conversations throughout day one are just so heartwarming, and it's nice to see Ellie just have a little light in her life. We get the gas at the synagogue, and in the Savina hotel, we see how Tommy did these two WLF soldiers.
What the fuck happened here?
Tommy did this.
This? No way.
It was definitely him. He's one of the ones that killed Joel.
Shit. There's another one over here.
Him.
It's so crazy to see how far Tommy's get back goes. He goes all out on these niggas. It's crazy, man. Ellie, though, only recognizes one of them, and by that measure, the other WLF soldier should be somewhat innocent. The specific detail of her only recognizing one creates this drama and has the player really grasp the reality of what's going on. In the director's commentary, the actor for Ellie says that she must believe that the WLF have this cosmic karma coming to them. It's just so interesting to think about. We then get blown the fuck up.
Get the other! Don't lose her! Go!
Jordan, one of the 8 who were there when Joel was killed. Dina comes in so clutch and kills this white man over here, and Ellie escapes and kills Jordan. You can tell how important this kill is to Ellie by the animation. They really show that that brother is fighting for his life. Escaping from the elementary, though, proves somewhat of a challenge, but shh, doesn't matter. Look at Dina putting in work, though. I know I haven't said anything about the actual gameplay yet, but one thing I will say is that The Last of Us gameplay, part 1 and 2, is just so fun. I was teething out of the mouth as a kid to play this game, and it did not disappoint. The crafting, the shooting, the stealth are just fun and complement the game perfectly. After you escape the elementary, Ellie pulls out a photo that she got from Jordan. They find out that it's a girl named Leah and that she's assigned to the TV station. We get to the TV station and have one of our very first sightings of the Seraphites. They hung these WLF soldiers, and when we found Leah, she was also killed by them. Ellie searches through her bag and finds pictures of everyone from the murder at Jackson. After we see them, we have to escape from the TV station, which eventually puts us in the underground railway system. This part of day one is so nice. From the aesthetic of the red background, the combat, the introduction of shamblers, it's just so cool. By the way, fuck shamblers and bloaters, I hate them so much. Shamblers are the biggest frauds ever though, 2 shotgun bullets and they're on their last legs. After running through the subway system, Ellie's gas mask has a hole in it, and it's here that Dina has to come to grips with Ellie being immune.
Ellie, stop! What? No! Ellie, no!
Stop! I'm not infected. I'm immune. I'm not coughing, do you see?
Dina's actor Kasinka Caradonna portrays this revelation amazingly. Ellie then finds out that Dina is pregnant.
Can you say something?
Ellie. I think I'm pregnant.
This really changed the game for me because my supposed partner was pretty much just rendered useless. And also the fact that the baby had to be Jesse's was just so crazy. During this downward spiral of Ellie's life, she flashes back to 3 years prior before the main events of the game, when Joel takes her on a surprise trip for her birthday.
That's starting to sound like something.
Ugh, I suck.
Just need to build up your calluses, that's all.
Man.
The flashback in a museum nestled in the woods of Wyoming draws parallels to the powerful giraffe scene from part 1, but it also surpasses that scene by offering a true glimpse of the kind of lives these people could have had if they weren't born into such troubled circumstances. In the middle of the current strain on Dina and Ellie's relationship, she finds a guitar that brings her back to this moment of her life. She begins to strum the chords of Pearl Jam's Future Date, a song Joel taught her near the beginning of the game and ensures us that he kept his promise to teach her. Joel and Ellie go through the woods and find a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex statue in front of the Wyoming Museum of Science and History. Ellie swells with awe and excitement, and this is probably the happiest we've ever seen her. And it's a stark contrast to the crazy lows she experiences throughout the sequel. The moments in this flashback are just, ugh. For example, Joe shares some of his dinosaur knowledge that he clearly learned from watching Jurassic Park.
That is a velociraptor.
Actually, it's a Deinonychus.
Pretty sure these are velociraptors. Yeah. I mean, at least that's what they called them in this movie I saw.
The scene comes to an end with Ellie putting on a space helmet, climbing into the space capsule, and listening to a recording of a shuttle launch.
20 seconds and counting. 3 minutes, 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11.
As the camera lingers on her face and the world around her transforms, the power of imagination takes hold of her. For this brief moment, there are no clickers, no warring factions, and no questions regarding whether or not Joel was telling the truth in Salt Lake City. There's only the infinite wonder of space. When she figuratively comes back to Earth, Joel quietly says,
I do okay.
Are you fucking kidding me?
There are a lot of really cool things to explore in this chapter, like the flag on this truck is the same WLF flag from earlier, and it's very interesting to see the way the WLF are set up compared to how the Fireflies were. They're so incredibly Fedra and militaristic, like it makes me wonder what their real gripes with them were. Another thing that is in this chapter, and is arguably the coolest, is the notes you find by Yuli, Yolanda, and the others. It's so cool how this story is built up. You're introduced to Boris, the QZ's top clicker killer, via a drawing from his daughter. You see, they even gave him a trophy too. After the truck full of soldiers pass, if you go to the left and enter the building, you'll find a note written by someone named Yolanda. Then if you go even further left into the building near the sinkhole, you'll find a note by Yuli. If my timeline is correct, the whole award for being the best clicker killer was most likely at the very start of the outbreak, when the wolves overthrew Fedra only to be Seattle's new oppressors. Uli tried to convince Boris to rise up like he once did against the infected. I love how Uli specifically says that the WLF are doing the same things as Fedra. It makes my accusations much more believable. Yolanda was a part of Fedra, which is why in this note she runs away after the wolves find the enlistment roster. While moving through this area, you find a lot of graffiti on flags and cars. We find out in the bicycle shop that these were from Sophia, Boris's daughter. In that same note, we also find out that the wolves executed her for it. Uli admits that he put Sophia up to this and urges Boris not to retaliate. Uli might actually be the worst friend of all time, because after Boris retaliates, he and someone else conspire to turn him in. Absolutely disgusting. While chasing Tommy, we actually find Boris as a stalker, but Boris regardless, and we take his bow. This story again is a testament to how good The Last of Us world building is. After going on the craziest kill spree ever, we find Jesse. Jesse is one of my favorite characters simply because he's charismatic and a good partner to have. He reminds me of Joel in a way, and I hope that doesn't get me crucified. And then we flash back again to Ellie shooting with Tommy. When Tommy asks her what's up with her, she replies that she has some stuff on her mind. Later, after they're done shooting, Tommy tells Ellie that Joel is worried about her and how saying hi and bye to him just isn't enough. Now, I cut out the end of the last flashback because I wanted to leave it on a good note. At the end, however, Ellie went into another building in the museum and saw this. From being reminded of the Fireflies, it causes her to question what really happened in Salt Lake City. And it's probably what she meant by having a lot of stuff on her mind. We then have to clear a hotel with Joel. Holy f***. I hate bloaters, or whatever that was. I hate them so much. At the end of this flashback, Joel and Ellie find a couple who ran away from Jackson, and the note they left really broke me, especially what Adam said.
Jackson is a wonderful place, but we got tired of hearing the stories of people suffering everywhere else. We wanted to save lives. We had good intentions. We didn't make it an hour before running into a horde. Now we're bitten. We've decided we're gonna end our lives instead of turning. Please tell our family and friends that we're sorry. Love, Adam and Sydney. I shot her. I can't take my own life. I'm a fucking coward. Adam.
Jesus.
Only they were immune, right?
Well, let's go get Tommy and we can get these bodies back to Jackson. Yeah.
After you took me out of the Firefly Hospital, you said there were dozens of people like me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they told me.
I've never met another immune person before. Have you?
I could be hiding it. You do.
Do you believe that?
Is now really the time for this?
We traveled across the entire country to bring me to the Fireflies. I had so many questions for them. Why did you pull me out of there while I was still unconscious?
Because I let them run their tests. And when I saw that they were useless, I got us out of there.
How do you know they were useless? Maybe if you just would have given them more time, they could have figured something out.
There was no cure.
It really brings out the reality of life in The Last of Us. This scene is so great, and as much as I love Joel, you can't defend this because Ellie is right. While the Fireflies were rushing for no reason, taking away Ellie while she was unconscious was a crazy move. Joel acting like he's a doctor too, talking about once I saw the tests, I knew they were useless. Like, what? Anyways, when we come back to the present, we see Dina and Ellie deduce that they should go after Nora at the Wolf Hospital. I went through literal hell trying to get to this goddamn hospital. The real introduction of stalkers is crazy. They're probably the most annoying and scary mob type simply because you can't see them in listening mode. They add another cool horror factor to the game. I love it a lot. After dealing with all of that shit, you then get introduced to the Seraphites right after dealing with the stalkers. It's great. On the first playthrough, this singular whistle shot almost knocked me out of commission because of fear. It took me 3 tries to get past this part, but I did eventually. but man, is it tough. In retrospect, this introduction is so cool, and I actually like it a lot. You can automatically assume that not only are they a crazy cult because you see them lynching somebody, but they're skilled and scary. In order to get to the hospital, you gotta swim, and then you pop up and get information from this girl. This is an interesting scene for a couple reasons. One, how the hell does she have a PSP? Like, you would think those would just be gone. But second, this is actually one of the girls who Abby talks to when she gets in the hospital. Killing her on second playthrough was crazy because I didn't really realize it was her. When I made my way to the hospital, I was just blowing niggas up left and right. It looked like the Middle East in Obama's term. It was just sad. They never should have gave me explosive arrows. Now, one of my favorite parts of the game is this conversation with Nora.
You remember me? Yeah. You remember me.
What do you want?
Abby was here earlier. Where'd she go?
I don't know. You shoot me. The sound will have every soldier come running.
You'll still be dead. Tell me where she went and I'll think about letting you go.
We could have killed you.
Maybe you should have. Or maybe you should have stayed the fuck out of Jackson. Where's Abby?
You still hear his screams?
What?
I hear them every night. Yeah. Yeah, that little bitch got what he deserved.
You fucking...
Nora is, and I don't say this word at all, a bitch. I love my black brethren, but that doesn't mean I support all my black brethren. Her asking if Ellie still hears his screams and proceeding to say that he deserved what he got? So we're running like hell chasing this girl, and oh man, playing this, I couldn't wait to kill her. I think Nora is one of the more satisfying kills in the game. Even after playing Ellie's part, I just didn't like her one bit. Eventually, we jumped into a lower floor and there are spores everywhere. I killed the clickers and the wolves, and we finally get a chance to get back.
Hi, Nora.
Oh God. Oh God.
Where's Abby?
You're breathing spores. You're her.
You Firefly?
There are no fireflies anymore.
Joel really ended all of that shit. That's crazy.
Where's Abby?
I'm fucking dead anyway. Why would I tell you anything?
Because I can make it quick. Or I can make it so much worse.
Think about what he did. How many people are dead because of him?
It's your last chance.
I'm not giving up, my friend.
But you don't hear me though.
In all seriousness though, the killing of Nora is, in my opinion, Ellie's can't go back point. Maybe it was before this or maybe it was a little after this, but while playing this moment really struck out to me. The way Ellie reacts to her saying that she won't give up on her friend is done so beautifully. I think the decision not to see the killing itself and instead focusing on Ellie's raw anger was an amazing one.
It's me.
We meet Ellie again and her hand is shaking and she's covered in Nora's blood. I think this is also the point that Dina realizes that Ellie is off the deep end. The mocap done by Ashley Johnson is so fucking amazing. You can see the shock and terror in Ellie from her face to her hands. We transition into a flashback, one where we see Ellie visit St. Mary's Hospital. Every flashback we've had has been building up Ellie's angst towards what happened in that hospital. We find a recording from Mel.
They said, even if we found her or by some miracle found someone else that's immune, it made no difference. Because the only person who could develop a vaccine is dead. Or by some miracle found someone else that's immune, it made no difference. Found someone else that's immune, it made no difference. Because the only person...
Ellie! Come here. What the hell are you thinking? Running off in the middle of the night like that. You talk to me. You don't just leave me a goddamn note.
Tell me what happened here. If you lie to me one more time, I'm gone. You will never see me again. But if you tell me the truth, I'll go back to Jackson. No matter what it is. Joel.
Making a vaccine would have killed you. So I stopped them.
Oh my God. Don't you fucking touch me! I'll go back. But we're done.
When he finally did confess to everything, it broke her with not only how indifferent he was to it, but how he had destroyed any chance she could have had of fulfilling the purpose she believed that she was destined for. It possibly even reaffirmed the suspicions in the back of her head that questioned his love for her due to how much he had to hurt her without apologizing even once for it, and how much he had taken from her in the process. The validity of all their past interactions was suddenly called into question as well, because although Joel did those things to make Ellie happy, every happy moment was always undercut by the tremendous amount of guilt she carried that outweighed the happier moments for her, as her entire life was now worthless. From the moment Joel removed her from that hospital, her purpose was gone. She goes back to Jackson and cuts off her relationship with Joel, not knowing what to do. We start day 3 walking in on Jesse caring for Dina. Ellie and him talk, and he realizes that Dina's pregnant. Jesse is just a special character, and I kind of wish that we had him as a companion for longer. Ellie and Jesse make their way to the aquarium, which they assume is where Abby is. They move into this building and they have a conversation that really puts the biggest theme on display.
You ever worried they're gonna come back to Jackson after us?
What do you mean?
I mean, we're going through a lot of their people. In their city.
Because of what they did.
Didn't Abby and her friends come to Jackson because of something Joel did?
This place isn't like Jackson. I mean, Joel and Tommy helped Abby when she got attacked. These people are trying to kill everyone around them. I mean, they shot you on sight, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
This cycle of revenge that Abby and Ellie are on is so pointless, but the way Ellie is quick to defend and justify her side is just mwah. We then kill a ton of WLF soldiers. I will once again say, explosive arrows are so fun to use. The combination of explosive arrows and Molotovs is undefeated. Moving forward, Jesse asks Ellie if she thinks Dina will keep the baby. Now, assuming that they have medical supplies to carry out an abortion at Jackson, which I think they do, I think Dina chooses to have the baby for 2 reasons. 1, to honor Jesse, and 2, to ground Ellie. I think Dina thought that having the baby would give Ellie the foundation that she's looking for. And even though this doesn't work for Dina, I still think it's the main reason she keeps it. This conversation they have at the library is so heartwarming.
I didn't think you'd be okay with all this.
I looked up to Joel. What happened to him was messed up. I would have come.
Joel liked you a lot too, you know. He used to think I had a crush on you.
Really?
Their conversations in general just seem like genuine conversations between friends. It's great. Moving forward, we decide to take a boat to get to the aquarium. When we advance further though, it comes to choosing between going to the marina and taking the boat to the aquarium. Ellie is certain on taking the boat.
You heard them right? They're talking about Tommy.
We don't know that.
Who else is it gonna be?
If it is him, he'll be gone by the time we get there. Abby is where he'll be headed, so if we just
What
fall,
if he's in trouble?
he can take care of himself.
Jesus Christ.
The best way to help Tommy is to go after Abby.
She says it's because we don't know if it's really Tommy, but we do. Ellie went from we can't go back without Tommy to Tommy can take care of himself, after being presented the mere chance to go face to face with Abby. It's so crazy and so interesting to me to see her mind unravel in real time. In all my playthroughs, getting the boat was easily one of the funniest encounters. We take the boat and high speed it all the way to this arcade where, once again, the Molotovs and explosive arrows make fighting these big, disgusting, horrible, ugly fucks so much easier. We're so close to the aquarium, and while we boot this shitty ass boat up, we get hit with the craziest wave and have to swim the rest of the way there. The aquarium just sucks on the second playthrough. Like, having to kill Alice genuinely made me look away. Then we have this scene.
People don't come back from that island.
How many times has Abby risked her life for you?
She chose this. I'm not fucking going there.
Then don't! Go back.
Fuck you, Owen.
Hands up. Where's Abby?
You're that girl from Jackson.
Tell me where she went.
How do we know you won't kill us?
Give her what she wants and we're dead.
You guys can survive this. I just need her.
Bullshit.
You. Come here.
Fucking get over here!
Point to where she is on this map. And then you. It better fucking match up.
are you doing?
She's probably dead anyway.
It is not worth it.
Stop!
We can talk
Back
back.
the fuck up! Point to where she is. Fucking point! Tell me where Abby is. Where the fuck is she?
Shooting Owen was whatever, but killing Mel and seeing the animation was just wow. The panic attack that Ellie has after finding out Mel is pregnant is so crazy. Like crazy to the point that she almost blicks Tommy. But genuinely, one of the best scenes in this entire game. It is so amazing. Back in the theater, we find out that Ellie still wants to kill Abby, but says that it has to be okay because of Dina. This conversation they have just really reminds me of how human everyone in this game is. It's so sweet.
I'm really not looking forward to going through Idaho again.
What you should be worried about is what Maria's gonna do to you when we get home.
We've been through worse. However, as I was passing through some ritzy section of town, I come across this necklace. It sparkles a lot. I think it's real gold.
You think it's real gold?
It's real gold.
Let's see it.
I know what gold looks like.
If it's legit, can we say it's from all of us?
Ha! You find your own damn bribes.
How you doing?
Fine.
Ellie?
Fine. Thanks for coming back for me.
My friend's problems are my problems.
You're such a sap.
All right, how about, my friends can't get out of their own damn way?
It's better. Shit!
Fuck.
Jesse, stand up! Hands in the air, I shoot this one too.
Don't you do it, Ellie. Get out of here.
Stand up! Now!
Don't you fucking dare!
Shut the fuck up! Fuck. All right. Stop! Stop! Toss your weapon. Toss your weapon! Fuck.
No.
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want. Just let him go.
You killed my friends. We let you both live.
And you wasted it.
Abby is complex. Her first flashback is one of my favorites in the game. We see in this flashback that the doctor from the Firefly Hospital is her dad. This tracking lesson that she has with her dad parallels the flashbacks we've seen with Joel and Ellie throughout the game, reminding us of the light in life. It's beautiful. We then see them find a zebra, which I think is supposed to somewhat parallel the giraffe scene from part 1. It's great, however, the zebra is tied up in wires and bleeding. The reason I love Abby's part is because everything about it builds her character and the world she experiences. The slower pacing backs this so well. It was never really a problem to me. After her dad, and Owen free the zebra, Owen tells Jerry that the Fireflies have found Ellie. In this conversation with Marlene and Jerry, we see them talking about whether or not to kill Ellie.
It's intertwined with the brain. There's no other option.
There has to be some other way.
There's no way to remove the specimen without destroying the host.
The host? She's a child, not some petri dish.
You think I don't... I'm aware of the situation.
And you're okay with killing her?
No, I'm okay with developing a vaccine that'll help save millions of lives. How many Fireflies have died for less?
That was their choice. Are you asking me? Or are you telling me this is how it's gonna be?
I am begging you to buy in.
And what if this was Abby?
One of my favorite characters in the last game, Marlene, tries to get Jerry to understand the grasp of this girl's life. Jerry says something interesting, that all the horrific acts that they've committed are justified with this one act. Marlene asks whether he would do it if it was his own child though, and he never directly answers the question. It's a multifaceted problem, but what I don't understand is, why didn't they just wait for her to wake up? Am I missing something? Why were the Fireflies in such a rush? Marlene though, as we know, ends up buying in. When talking to Abby, you can see Jerry almost cry because he understands what he's taking from Joel. The rest of this though is history. We appear as Abby in the hallway. She walks down and sees her father dead on the floor. St. Mary's Hospital is used so particularly in this game. It's used as a culmination of Ellie's angst due to what Joel did in that hospital. It's used multiple times for Abby as a constant reminder of her grief and guilt. It's used so beautifully though as something each have to let go. We then fast forward to Abby just after killing Joel. This, in my opinion, is one of the most important scenes in the game. Not just Joel dying, but how her own friends reacted to him dying. Mel in the back is horrified, and we see her throughout the game view Abby as a monster. The argument with Owen, Manny, and Jordan in the background is there as well. The most important part of the scene though is the excellent performance from Laura Bailey. This kill starts Abby's descent. You can see how little killing Joel helped her while staring at his dead body. We see her wake up 4 times, in Jackson, the stadium, after sleeping with Owen, and on day 3 after getting supplies for Yara. Manny gets her and Mel to go on a mission together, which is awkward considering Abby is her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend, and it gets weirder just adding on what happened to Jackson. Walking through the WLF stadium is designed to make you feel bad. The calling out of names when you kill someone as Ellie is nothing compared to walking through the nursery full of children who all have parents in the WLF. It's nothing to the rest in peace mural on the wall wondering how many you put up there while playing. It's nothing compared to walking through the cafeteria and simply talking to other malleable human beings. This is also, by the way, the stadium that Uli and Boris were talking about in their notes. Going out onto the field and picking up the dog that we killed in the aquarium hurt my heart. Abby, Mel, and Manny then set out.
Gracias.
How have you been sleeping these days? Not great. Do you want me to get you something from the pharmacy?
Nah, I'm good.
It's not a big deal.
No, it's fine. I'm just gonna wear myself out. I've been picking up a few extra assignments.
Abby tells Mel that instead of her getting medicine from the pharmacy, she would rather pick up more assignments and wear herself out. This is a core part of Abby. She pushes herself to extreme physical limits, and while this does give her the will of Jesus Christ himself and extreme durability, she's really using this as a coping method. Her physique is a physical manifestation of her trauma. She worked and trained aggressively to kill Joel. However, after Joe dies, she still struggles to get sleep and experiences frequent nightmares. In these nightmares, she revisits her trauma's origin, the day her father was murdered. While on this ride with Mel and Manny, the Scars spawn camp the wolves. It's just hilarious. In the boat repair place or whatever it is, Mel and Abby have this conversation.
So, glad you hitched a ride with us?
Right. Remind me to thank Manny for that one. I am glad I'm here with you guys. I hate to hear you got in trouble and I couldn't help.
Hey, why have you been avoiding me?
I wasn't avoiding you.
Come on, you've barely said anything to me since Jackson.
I don't know. I guess I was shook by Jackson, too.
You don't think Joel deserved what he got?
I think he deserved worse. I just wish I didn't take part in it.
I get it. What kind of a person could do that, right?
I'm not saying that.
Let's see if there's a way to the hatch.
Mel is overhated, in my opinion. She's just weak-stomached, and while she does view what happened to Joel as him getting what he deserves, taking part in it messed her up, and that's understandable. One thing I've seen about Abby's part when it comes to gameplay is that her loadout is weak. While the crossbow is underwhelming, the hunting pistol is quite easily my favorite gun in the game, and you can craft the bullets. The shotgun is fun too, and the combination of incendiary bullets and pipe bombs is just so fun. After getting picked up by your own people, you go to the FOB. This leads to one of the most devastating scenes in the game.
Oh my god. Are these all ours?
Yeah. And more are coming in by the hour. You can't tell Mel, all right?
All right.
Just not yet. Come here.
Who's in that body bag?
Holy shit. It's Danny.
Nora takes you to walk through the morgue. There's hundreds of dead bodies and apparently more coming in by the hour from Tommy or Ellie. Earlier than that though, you can see some of the wolves planning out the attack on Seraphite Island. Abby and Manny then meet with Isaac.
Don't let him fall asleep. Yes, sir. Let's go up.
You two ran into some trouble.
No losses on our side. Just some minor injuries. Can't say the same for them.
Wish I was hearing more of that.
Never seen the base this packed.
Give it another day. Still waiting on some units.
What's going on, boss?
These small skirmishes. Can't keep going like this.
Then what?
We could try another truce. But how long before some asshole on their side or our side unravels the whole thing?
This was anticipated by me, and his introduction is just fantastic. Walking through the hall to meet him, you see and feel the opposite of what you did at the stadium to remind you that the wolves aren't all good. You see multiple Seraphites locked up in cages like animals. Isaac is the xenophobic leader of the wolves, and the first thing we see him doing is torturing a Scar. He's played amazingly by Jeffrey Wright and has this imposing force whenever he's on screen. Isaac is a general in a gruesome war. He sees his world in black and white, and it's shown when he says this.
Has to be all of them.
Sir, we'll try attacking their island.
Not like this. Not with everyone. There's a big storm a few days out. We're gonna use it to mask our approach. You two are gonna lead the first wave. Pick your squads, start prepping.
He's willing to sacrifice every wolf in order to attack the Seraphites. Abby does the worst acting job ever when she pretends not to know that Isaac thinks that Owen killed Danny. She decides to go after Owen anyway, after specifically being told by Isaac not to. After this, we get a flashback with Abby and Owen discovering this aquarium.
What is this place?
I don't know. You gonna keep going?
Fuck yeah.
It's a beautiful flashback, and the relationship is actually really cute. She gets over her fear of heights just to make sure that Owen is okay. We even get the story with Ben and Max when we reach the aquarium, and Jesus, it's kind of sad. While visiting Ben and Max's father, we see Owen and Abby comparing the Fireflies to the Scars.
I just don't understand how anybody willingly joins the Scars.
Why not?
Because they're an insane cult. That's why.
In the QZs, people would refer to the Fireflies as terrorists. Fanatics.
We were naive. We weren't fanatical.
We blew up checkpoints and assassinated soldiers.
It's not the same.
I'm just saying...
Don't say shit like that at the stadium, okay?
Okay, all right.
In which Owen views the Fireflies in a hopeful light, contrasting that of the original game.
You want me to slow down?
No.
Is it this?
I was thinking about why Abby did this with Owen, and I came to the conclusion that since it was just 1 year after her dad's death, she didn't feel comfortable experiencing real happiness until she found and killed Joel. The mention of anything with Joel just causes Owen to become upset, and I kinda get it, but Jesus, man. And this is eventually what causes their breakup.
I'm gonna hang out with the SEALs for a little while.
Later, as we traverse with Abby, nothing really special with her comes up until we pass by a Seraphite truck. In the building to the left, we see a note written by someone who was guarding the Seraphite prophet. Now, I'll take some time and explain the Seraphites or the Scars. As we hear from Lev later, who they were trying to force to be a wife to a grown-ass man, the Scars are pretty odd. They're a religious group who are, in my opinion, a perfect example of how easy it is to sway people in their time of need. And you might be thinking, oh, who's dumb enough to believe in shit like this in real life? And I say to you, that there is literally a cult in real life called Profanity Yours in Texas that proves my point. People will do anything when they need something in their life. The people in The Last of Us are no different. Especially in the gruesome world that is The Last of Us, some people need something to believe in. That is why the Prophet is such an interesting character to me, because having charm, like stated in the note of the guard we find, can draw people to you. And when people are drawn, you can make them do anything with the illusion of choice. Isaac made a horrible mistake killing the Prophet, because as Abby says,
Isaac. You turned a crazy person into a martyr.
if you are in the position that the Prophet was in, dying was the best choice. Because if you die for them, they will live for you. There's also this silly little thing that Abby says when she reads one of the notes on the truck.
Ooh, someone wants to get laid.
After fighting a shit ton of Seraphites and getting jumped, we flash back again to 4 months earlier with Owen and Abby. Owen is a horrible boyfriend, by the way. Like, shit, his reluctance to put Abby's name on the board because Mel will see it is just crazy. While at the aquarium, we see that Owen is painting the view of Salt Lake City, and we learn that he used to paint firefly tags.
You're not painting over Max's mural.
I'm embellishing it.
Oh, you've really moved up from graffitiing firefly tags.
Oh, did you hear another Firefly joined last month?
Ex-firefly.
Well, she'd also heard about a regroup in Santa Barbara.
Was there any proof to go along with that rumor?
And the more this flashback goes on, the more his flirting with Abby makes more and more sense. Owen is lost. He finds comfort relishing in the past and is most likely why he wants to rekindle what he had with Abby, but when Abby brings up Tommy, that wish is quickly put down.
He's at a settlement out in Wyoming.
How do you know that?
The fireflies who served with him got picked up at the wall.
At the end of day one, Abby's indomitable will to live is portrayed amazingly when she's captured and is almost lynched by the Seraphite. By the way, the lighting in this scene might be the best lighting in the entire game. It is so fucking excellent. I love it. Abby quite literally refuses to die, hanging in there for as long as possible until these two runaway Scars save her. This group, the Seraphites, are supposed to be Abby's biggest enemy, and we hear from Mel that Abby is Isaac's top Scar killer. So why exactly did she go out of her way to go with and save these two Seraphites after they save her? Abby's world continues to become less and less black and white. Also, this is how Abby should be played, just straight aggressiveness. Do you see how cold this is? They run through a forest together, and when they have the opportunity to leave Abby, they don't take it. Instead, they come back for her. Abby leaves the two in an unsafe area and goes to where she originally planned, the aquarium. She goes and finds Owen. Owen says something about why he's gone AWOL and is one of my favorite speeches in the game.
Fucking cruel. Isaac sends you after me.
He didn't. What is all this?
Gotta take her apart if I'm gonna fix her back up.
I see.
Want some?
Pass.
Suit yourself.
Danny's dead.
Figured.
You want to tell me what happened?
We were cleaning out a small camp. It's just a couple scars, and I hit this one on the head hard. And he goes down, and his weapon's right there. And he doesn't go for it. Instead, he turns to me. And he's old and tired. He was just ready.
These feelings toward the old Seraphite man aren't out of the blue though. We saw in Jackson that Owen wasn't completely comfortable with the killing of Joel, as we can see him and Mel left the room when it happened.
This fucking guy. I couldn't do it.
In Jackson, Owen also finds out that Mel is pregnant, and not only does this trap him in a relationship with her, but gets rid of any chance he had with Abby again. Him not being able to take the life of an old Seraphite man ultimately caused him to shoot Danny, and is the reason Isaac never sent a search party after him. The old Seraphite man reminded Owen of Joel, someone who is old and ready to let go. By coming face to face with the man, he also came face to face with the trauma he's been dealing with. The realization that he can't keep going with the WLF and commit violent acts he doesn't care for anymore hits hard. Owen is lost, and he needs to look for the light. So he wants to go to Santa Barbara. Abby and Owen share a common circumstance. They both realize that their world isn't as narrow as they thought it was. Owen questions why he's even in the WLF, and Abby just got saved by 2 Seraphite kids and left them in an area that she knows is dangerous. Owen is drunk, and this is probably the first time him and Abby have been alone since Jackson. The empty Abby feels like she has no purpose. She needs to be reminded of her humanity. Owen wants to leave Seattle to go to Santa Barbara, where a camp of fireflies might be. These emotions culminate in the raw feeling of wanting to feel something, and there are none other than 2 emotions to go to. The first is anger, when Owen directly calls out Abby for torturing Joel, and when he does, Abby lashes out in a physical representation of her guilt. And then senseless adoration. Paralleling Ellie's first time earlier in the game, Abby ends up sleeping with Owen. This scene has been scrutinized for being too intimate. My initial reaction is, grow up please, but on a real note, the scene was only ending one way. Could it have called off sooner? Yes. However, making the player feel the guilt adds on to the experience, and this becomes one of the turning points in Abby's life. This is the start of her redemption. When she goes to sleep, she has the same nightmare, but in place of her father's dead body in the operating room is the place where she was almost lynched and killed by the scars. This is then followed up by the horrid imagery of the 2 kids that saved her being hung and killed. This dream is one of the key moments when it comes to Abby's character for me. It was one of the points where my hate slowly turned into adoration. Killing Joel didn't bring her father back, and rekindling her relationship with Owen didn't end up making her feel human again. Saving these 2 kids, though, could. The act of doing something her father would be proud of might bring back her humanity. Saving Lev and Yara is Abby looking and finding the light. This dream is foreshadowing in Abby's mind the fate of Lev and Yara because she left them behind. This guilt, however, goes just beyond that. It's the accumulation of guilt she has for the effect of going to Jackson and killing Joel had on her friends. The guilt of sleeping with her friend's boyfriend, and the guilt of not being able to save her father. This game doesn't force you to like Abby. However, it does show you the full scope of her life, of her story, to understand both sides. There are no righteous causes. There are no evil ones either. This game is about humanity, and writing off Abby because of what she did to Joel goes against the entire meaning of the game. When Abby wakes up, she goes to where she left Yara and Lev. She doesn't know why, she just knows she has to. I was getting shitted on by these scars, but that doesn't even matter because the getaway t-shirt is so tough. She takes them back to the aquarium and finds out that Yara has to get her arm amputated. So what does Abby do? She volunteers to travel across the city to get supplies from the WLF hospital to amputate it safely. She is not aware why she feels obligated to, but has an absolute determination not to let that dream become a reality. In doing this, Lev suggests climbing one of the tallest buildings in Seattle, where the Seraphites have built a sky bridge to get around the wolves. This not only strikes the living fear out of her, but scared the hell out of me because I hate heights. And that is one of the first things we learn about Abby, is that she is deadly afraid of heights. Her experience with vertigo at the sight of such heights is detailed in such a cool way. Her visibly getting more and more anxious as they ascend is just chef's kiss. Characters throughout the game remind her to stop looking down, which yes can be taken literally, but can also be used as a metaphor to remind Abby to stop dwelling on the past. Lev gives Abby not just a cool speech about how fear invokes true strength, which I love and will come in effect later, but encourages her to keep going and get over her fear.
Can I give you some advice?
Oh my god.
Just think about the good parts to fear.
The good parts?
Yeah, like you run faster. You're more focused.
Oh,
you don't feel pain as much. Every bad feeling, your palms sweating, your heart racing, they're all signs you're actually stronger. So when you feel afraid, you should think about how your body is getting ready for what's coming. Only when weak may I carry my true strength.
Lev before this also gives some context on the Seraphite prophet.
Protect them. I wonder if your prophet had any idea what she was starting.
She saved dozens of people in ways no one can explain.
She blew up trucks and killed some soldiers. Not that hard to explain.
Have you read her writings?
Skimmed some.
You'd benefit from it.
Sure.
We then fall and somehow survive. This fall scared the hell out of me. I thought that I died. I was like, what's going on? She talks about how if she's going to die, she's dying for her, when Lev asks her if she believes in God, which prompts this question that Lev asks: why did you come back for us? In which Abby responds, guilt. Abby uses helping them as a way to lighten her personal guilt and giving her just a little sense of freedom from it. Abby and Lev have to descend further down the hotel, filled with infected patients from the WLF hospital that started the spread in Seattle. This starts her descent into ground zero. When she reaches the hospital, she is imprisoned by her own people. Tribalism is one of the biggest themes in The Last of Us 2. Abby continues to serve the needs of her tribe, and later on even tells Lev after he said that the wolves were Abby's people, that Lev is her people. Throughout the game, Abby's tribe becomes smaller and smaller, leading to her turning her back on the WLF and becoming an enemy of multiple factions. Nora then frees her and helps her find the stuff that she's looking for. Ground Zero is the metaphor for Abby's rock bottom. Her revenge on Joel didn't fill the void, didn't give her the sense of peace that she thought would come with it. Without having the goal of killing Joel, she's feeling more and more lost. Her friends think that she's a monster, and the WLF is becoming increasingly wary of her. So she returns to this hospital to move forward, to face the past by killing the monster within her. The monster that placed a sense of violence and rage in her that caused her to lose her humanity. Abby's healing journey, bringing her to a hospital, a building symbolic for her trauma, is pivotal. The plenty of infected patients and testimonies from soldiers and nurses reminds Abby of how her dad and his people could have saved the world from that fate. The Rat King is one of my favorite boss fights and is symbolic of this metaphorical monster inside Abby. It's kind of hilarious that her first encounter with it is it waking up in the trauma center, extremely on the nose, but eye-catching. After turning on the power, you can see that the trauma center has been blown to fucking bits. When she finds the supplies, Abby faces her biggest demon, the Rat King. The Rat King is a combination of infected who were locked away for over 25 years. It is also, however, full of different metaphors for Abby's character and the game as a whole. It grew in the trauma center for years, until only recently she released it and now has to, metaphorically, come face to face with it. The Rat King is the physical manifestation of what she hates most about herself and her life. The monster could also represent Joel, the man she dedicated years of her life to killing, the one who she deemed responsible for her own trauma. The Last of Us Explained had a really good interpretation of the stalker that comes off of the Rat King, saying that it could represent Ellie, as it's much smaller and much more annoying to fight. Abby at this point in the story doesn't know about Ellie yet, about how Ellie is quite literally killing all of her friends. Killing the Rat King was a physical representation of Abby coming to terms with and eliminating the violent, selfish person that she has become. As she walks out of the garage, she is much more calm. Why? Because killing the Rat King starts her journey to redemption. Lev and Abby go to the aquarium, and Mel is able to save Yara using the supplies that Abby was able to salvage. We get this little conversation with Abby and Owen that is so bittersweet.
They're just kids.
I know.
What happened to us?
Maybe we stopped looking for the light.
During the game, Abby finding Yara and Lev leads to her to reevaluate her relationship with the Firefly. We see that when she joined the WLF in the Aquarium flashback, she resents the Fireflies as they failed and they were naive. The WLF, on the other hand, achieved what they wanted. Yara and Lev, however, are an example of people who know their philosophy is misused and twisted, but they still hold on to the beliefs that nourish them. They held on to the light while surrounded by darkness. They were born into a world that really doesn't care about them. They're kids. Abby too, when recruited by Isaac, was just a kid. However, Owen and Abby aren't children anymore. They were blinded and lost the light. But when Abby has her normal dream that night, instead of the alarm wailing, the closed red door, and Abby panicking, the alarm is silenced. Abby is calm, and the door opens with a ray of light beaming out of it. She walks into the hospital room, and there's no more grim imagery, just her dad smiling back at her. She made her father proud. Waking up on day 3, Abby wakes up without being startled or scared, a monumental moment in her character. A criticism that I see a lot about this game is, and I'm putting this in the biggest air quotes imaginable, is that it manipulates you into feeling bad for Abby. If you're a grown-up enough to buy this game and play it, there's no way that a game is manipulating you. Be a man and think for yourself. The problem with a lot of criticism in this game is that people miss the entire point. This game isn't about good, evil, or revenge. Ellie is not more evil than Abby, and Abby is not better than Ellie. The game is about something else entirely. Humanity was a big part of the first game, and it's amplified here in part 2. It helps you understand the gravity of living in this world. In a world where no one is good or evil, where everyone is simply trying to get by. Understanding that was integral to the game, and playing as Abby made the story whole.
What are you still doing up? I was changing Yara's bandages. Can't believe she's on her feet already. Yeah, well, scars are tough. What are they fighting about?
Fuck you, Yara. I wouldn't leave you behind.
Lev doesn't want to leave Seattle. Owen invited them to come to Santa Barbara. That is very Owen. I figured you'd have talked him out of going by now. Actually, I'm going with them. But not if you come. What? He may fall for your little act with these kids, but I don't. There's nothing to fall for. Isaac's top scar killer suddenly had a change of heart? Nothing to do with Owen, right? I haven't always done the right thing. You're a piece of shit, Abby.
This scene with Mel is apparently hated for some reason, but people forget. Mel is the most normal out of the Salt Lake crew. She was horrified by the killing of Joel and has viewed Abby as a monster ever since. Mel isn't a killer, and add on the bonus of Abby being her current boyfriend's ex, who he has obviously expressed interest in, this scene makes perfect sense. The parallel between Mel calling Abby out and her taking it compared to how she took it when Owen did is also just amazing and represents her journey. She does take it out on this chair though. This walk with Yara you do is one of the most beautiful parts of the game. Seeing Yara warm up to Alice was genuinely heartwarming. This Outline Miami shirt is fire, by the way. This conversation with Yara really opened my eyes.
How is he doing this? Hey, do you think maybe he could convince your mom?
If she saw him like this, she'd strangle him with her bare hands.
How much did he tell you?
Not much. I heard some of your people calling him Lily.
For a long time, I didn't understand why he was questioning the laws, the traditions. When he explained to me how he felt inside, I told him he had to keep it to himself. I was hoping he'd snap out of it. He seemed fine for a while. But then he shaved his head. Like one of the men. It was suicide.
Is that when you ran?
First, I screamed at him. I hit him. I'm so stupid.
The story of her and her brother is so sad, but fits into the story, and especially Abby's story, so well. While listening to Yara saying that the Seraphites chose Lev to be a wife for one of the elders, I was thinking, fuck man, I'm glad they got him out of there. This little snow globe made me so happy, oh my gosh. After finding a present for Lev, we find out that he's going back for his mom on Seraphite Island. This prompts Abby and Yara to take a boat to go after him. But before they can do that though, they have to get a boat at the marina first. Leaving Yara behind after hearing shooting, Abby goes further and finds Manny in the heat of battle with an unknown sniper. Now while chasing him down, they struggle to open the door and boom! Manny is shot in the head, and Abby is soon next but dodges out of the way. This kill really cemented the thought I explained earlier with death in The Last of Us. Manny and Jesse as my two biggest examples, as the death happens so abruptly and represent how sudden death can be. We then find out that the sniper is Tommy. We take care of Tommy and find a boat. After walking across the island to find Lev, we eventually do, sitting there traumatized because he had to kill his mom.
I just tried talking to her. I tried to make her understand. But she just kept yelling. She started chasing me. Trying to make her stop. I was just pushing her off of me. She hit the table.
Listen. You were defending yourself. You did nothing wrong.
It's so disheartening hearing that his mom couldn't accept him for who he was, and was stuck in tradition without seeing Lev as a human being. Ian, Alexander, and Victoria Grace do such an amazing job in this scene. While escaping, Yara runs into a wolf and gets shot. Lev is distraught and Isaac shows up and pulls a gun on Abby and Lev. The amazingly pictured setting emphasizes the mood of every character on screen. It's dark, rainy, and dreadful. Isaac is willing to shoot a child. That's how far his hatred for the Seraphites goes, to the point where he is perfectly okay with murdering innocents. Yara puts out the craziest clutch of all time and kills Isaac by shooting him in the back. This was crazy to me first playthrough. I thought we were gonna get shot. The WLF soldiers behind her, they just start fucking her up, man. It's sad. They just started lighting her up. Had her looking like straight Swiss cheese. You could use her body as binoculars. Soon after this is one of my favorite lines in the game.
Oh my god, she's on. Come on. Those were your fucking people. You're my people.
Listen to me. We're gonna have to fight to get out of this, okay? And then I need you to show us to those boats. We don't let anybody stop us. Yeah? Okay. Okay.
Abby becomes committed to Lev, fully embracing the light and her newfound purpose she has in taking care of him. They make their way to Haven, and it is everything but. The scenery of this game, though, is once again simply unmatched. Riding through Haven and seeing this just made the chaos come to life. The fights in Haven are so good. You become an enemy of both factions while both factions are fighting with each other. It's chaotic and messy like any war is. Abby and Lev are simply caught in the middle. This boss battle you have with this guy is genuinely a battle of wills. Abby loses all the shit in her bag and has to fight him with a sickle. Me, Abby, I piece him the fuck up and make his mouth see-through. You look at one side, she's gonna look like a telescope. He simply just doesn't die though. In a battle of wills though, Abby prevails. As she proclaimed in the Rat King fight and earlier in Haven, she will not die here. We kill him and get on a boat back. Sadly, once again, this game proves that rest is not an option for us. Walking into the aquarium and seeing Alice's dead body hurt. The dog represents true innocence, a meaningless kill. The dogs don't hate, they're doing what they're told.
Be careful.
Abby's reaction just, I've said this so many times, but it genuinely broke me. After seeing and experiencing her life in this game, you understand. Lev picks up a map and shows Abby, and Abby knows what she has to do. And so, the confrontation begins. Abby pulls up on straight timing, breaking in, finding Tommy, and killing Jesse in the span of like 5 minutes. This fight with Ellie, man, is one of the most compelling fights I have ever witnessed, and it's not even the best fight in this game. Man, it was hard. It was very hard. If I made a dying compilation, it would be as long as this video would be already. I know Ellie in this fight is what really gets to people when they play on permadeath mode, so you know what? Plug, I might possibly play permadeath on stream. Stay tuned. But anyways, watching back the footage I recorded, in the cinematic parts, Ellie was getting cooked. Like, it's crazy. There are 3 stages to this fight, each obviously getting harder and harder. In the first room, it's light, but the second where she pulls out this fucking shotgun really got to me. This fight, even though you're sneaking for most of it, is just so raw. Just nothing but absolute hate on both sides. It's crazy. The worst part about dying, though, was seeing the little stupid hint thing talking about how you shouldn't attack Ellie head on. Like, I know that, I know. We catch Ellie lacking and Abby just starts beating hell out of her. Like, it's crazy. But then Dina comes out of nowhere to protect Ellie. A lot of people apparently don't appreciate what comes after.
Stop! She had nothing to do with this. She's pregnant. Good.
Yes, killing a pregnant lady is crazy, but as far as Abby knows, Ellie willingly killed Mel knowing she was pregnant. You might also be wondering, if Abby is on this whole path to redemption, why is she okay with this? Abby just had her friends killed after narrowly surviving the new D-Day, so I think it makes a lot of sense. However, when she's about to kill Dina, the mere gaze of Lev reminds her of the light and allows her to find it in herself to spare them, breaking the cycle of hatred. The farm is one of the most beautiful segments of the game. It's visually the most appealing and is presented as something that's good for everyone involved, especially with the new baby in the mix. This guy is so cute. I love him so much. This, though, is where things start to crumble, because if you remember, this segment started with Ellie looking at Joel's old watch. Later, we see her having a panic attack after herding sheep, and we see a nightmare where she is unable to get to Joel behind the door. Another interesting part about this nightmare, though, is that Joel says, "Ellie, help me," which is something that he didn't say, and really makes you understand where Ellie is mentally. Later, Tommy comes to visit, and it just doesn't go well for anyone. Dina, of course, is super upset.
Oh, I got it.
Hey. Hey. It's good to see you.
You too. He's getting heavy.
No, he's just a big ball of muscle.
Town's good? Maria good?
Oh, she's fine. We're taking some time apart.
Sorry.
Nah. We talked about it a lot, and yeah, it's what we both want, so. Okay. Oh, come sit. I got something to show you. So I've been putting out feelers for months now. And this new guy heard my story. He told me about a woman that he traded with while he was moving through California. Described her as built like an ox, traveling with a kid with scars across his face. He said they're living along this coast in a beach sailboat right here. That's gotta be her.
We're done with that, so.
I'm sorry.
Well, I can't go.
I know.
All right.
I've seen people say that this change for Tommy is too sudden or doesn't make any sense, but there are things that we have to understand. Tommy's last memories of going to Seattle was Abby shooting his eye out and Lev making him a half cripple. He's probably rotting in his house knowing that she's out there somewhere and there's nothing he can do. So he leans on someone who he thinks wants the same thing he does. The person that made him a promise when they got back to Jackson. He leads on Ellie to finish what they started. When Ellie wakes up at night, the game does something that it does very rarely. It forces us to look at Ellie's notebook. What the journal shows us is that the panic attacks happen often. She can't sleep and she's unable to have contact with other people. She can't even talk about Joel anymore, and her idea of a good day is one where she's distracted enough not to think about Seattle just for a few hours. This is Ellie at her lowest. There are a bunch of notes in here that are just downright suicidal. She's barely able to function as a human being anymore, and for all her love and trying, Dina can't help her. So when Tommy mentions the lead on Abby, she finally has something. A way out.
Hey.
Hey.
Man, it's been a while since he slept this long, huh?
He had a day.
Yeah. He's fine. Go back to bed. We'll talk about it in the morning, okay?
I have to finish it.
You don't owe Tommy anything.
I don't sleep. I don't eat. I'm not like you, Dina.
What? You think this is easy? For you and for him, I deal with it.
I love you.
Prove it. Stay.
I can't.
So what? I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for you? For God knows how long, just thinking you're fucking dead the entire time?
I don't plan on dying.
Yeah, well, neither did Jesse. Or Joel. Hey, stop. Hey, come on. We've got a family. She doesn't get to be more important than that. No.
The scene with Dina is heartbreaking. It puts a tear in my eye, but Dina ends up doing the only thing she can do in this situation. Walk away and protect herself and her child. She has no other choice, just like Ellie has no other choice. California is such a great section of this game. It starts with Abby and Lev, who now have been together for quite some time trying to find the base of the Fireflies. Seeing this hopeful and amazing duo creates a stark contrast when you put it side by side with Ellie. They're able to radio the Fireflies, but when they leave, they get jumped. And I'll stand on it. Abby would have taken care of all of these niggas so quickly if they just gave her the respect and the honor of a one-on-one. We then pick up with Ellie. Hotline Miami shirt, I fucking love the shirt. I love the level design here. It's bright, it's dusty, it's kind of like a fever dream, because that's what it is for Ellie. She's basically just operating on autopilot. We make our way through the island and we get caught in a trap. We see people from the same group that jumped Abby and Lev, who we later find out are called the Rattlers. Oh my god, ooh, so scary. Ellie gets pierced in her side and oh my god, it looks really bad. This dickhead tries to get her bitten, like, does he not know who my goat is? This shit gets him killed and his partner gets shot in the leg. He starts snitching right away, no hesitation, and gets killed anyway. What a sad way to go. Ellie continues despite being bitten, which once again, doesn't really matter. But she does have a massive hole in her side. That does matter. We kill a lot more Rattlers and we find out they're keeping fucking slaves. Like they're so easily the worst faction in the game. And I know I said there's no evil, there's no good, but these guys are genuinely evil. I hate them so much. We go towards the round dome that Fat Man told us to go to and we find their camp. They're out here doing plantation cosplays. It's crazy. Pushing through and exploding more of these assholes to find Abby, we come across the people that they've taken in a cell. They tell us that Abby is at the pillars.
Holy. Abby?
This scene was not at all what I was expecting. Abby is strung up, and once again, her insane will to live allowed her to persevere. When she thinks someone has come to her rescue, it's Ellie, the last person she must have wanted to see. Ellie could have killed her right here, just ended it, but she didn't. This was a telltale sign of how this was going to end. When she cuts Abby down, she immediately rushes for Lev, and Ellie has this confused look on her face. Once again, another sign. Ellie forces Abby to fight her in one of the most gruesome and disturbing fights so far. Being strung up for days, Abby still puts up a fight, but loses. Ellie has the opportunity to kill her. She has her face in the water, but she decides not to. Right when Ellie is drowning Abby in the end, you can see tears streaming down her face. She doesn't want to do it, but she feels like she has to. But then we get the mini flashback of Joel playing guitar, and Ellie lets go. Ellie was never able to forgive Joel, since Abby took that away from her. On that beach, Ellie decides to forgive Abby instead, since that's the only thing that can set her free. When she lets her go, she says, just take him. This brings me back to what I said before. This game isn't about revenge. It's about humanity, yes, but the true essence of this game is empathy, compassion, and above all, forgiveness. Being able to move forward. That is why I love this game. That is why I love this ending. Ellie officially breaks the cycle of hatred. She doesn't kill Abby to put Lev in the same position that she was in. This ending was a happy one. Bittersweet, yes, but happy. I don't understand why people say that all Ellie did was a waste or a sacrifice that has no meaning because she didn't kill Abby. We saw what revenge does. We saw how it ate Abby from the inside. Why would killing Abby give Ellie a satisfying ending? It would start the cycle we have seen throughout the game. People hate Abby and call her a monster, yet want Ellie to become the same monster that she is. When Ellie arrives at the farm for the final time, there's a new drawing of Joel in her notebook. For the first time since his death, she's able to draw him with eyes. Also worth noting that Ellie is wearing Dina's good luck bracelet again for the first time since Seattle. When she plays the guitar, she is able to play the first 2 lines of Future Days, even though her missing fingers make it much harder. It's bittersweet, and it triggers the memory of her conversation with Joel about trying to forgive him.
What are you drinking?
Coffee.
Where'd you get that?
Those people that came through last week.
Oh.
A little embarrassed as to what I had to trade to get it, but it's not bad.
I had Seth under control.
Yeah, I know.
And you need to stop harassing Jesse about my patrols.
Okay. Dina. Is she your girlfriend?
No. No, that was just one kiss. It doesn't mean anything. I don't know why she did that.
But you do like her.
So stupid.
I have no idea what that girl's intentions are, but I do know that she would be lucky to have you.
You're such an asshole.
I'm not trying to.
I was supposed to die in that hospital. My life would have fucking mattered. But you took that from me.
If somehow the Lord gave me a second chance at that moment, I would do it all over again.
Yeah. I don't think I can ever forgive you for that. But I would like to try.
I'd like that.
Ellie forgave Abby. She forgave Joel, but most of all, she forgave herself. Ellie has started healing, and it might be a long process, it might be a short process, but Ellie will get there. We start again at the beginning of something healthy.
But the interesting thing to me about it is, like, this game is so much about tribalism and saying I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
And losing the nuance of that conversation. And so much of the conversation, years later now, people are still arguing about it on that level and not seeing the irony that they're kind of proving the point of the story, the way they're arguing about whether Joel was right or Abby was right or Ellie. And it's like, no one was right, no one was wrong. It's just messy and gross in the way that these conflicts usually are.
This is my biggest and my most passionate video. This game is a tribute to my innate hope for humanity. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for sticking around to the end. Enjoy your day, and remember to live life.